think it's always about listening to the user. Easier said than done. Because which user are you gonna listen to? Are you gonna listen to the existing user or to the potential user that isn't using your product? How are you gonna listen to them? Are you gonna look at data? Are you gonna talk to them? Are you gonna meet them? How are you gonna understand what they're asking for? Sometimes you need to stop and to say, hey, maybe we need to do a game changer.
In a world where digital experience defines brands, one man stands at the forefront of product innovation. With a decade in product leadership, he's been the driving force behind the digital transformation of Wix products. Introducing Sadeh, the maestro of user experience and the mind behind data-driven strategies that enchant hundreds of millions of users across the globe. Welcome to the DesignRush Podcast. I'm your host, Vianca Mayer. Thank you so much again for joining us today and making the time to chat with us. I think I speak for our whole team in saying that we're super excited to talk to you, especially because you're head of product at Wix. It's a really cool one we've been able to snag for today. So thank you really for you and your team for setting this up with us as well. So just diving into the first question, let's talk about like your early career path, your early life. So you started your professional career in television, working on like really awesome projects like The Voice and The Real Housewives. So what made you decide to transition from that to product creation / management, and how did you accomplish that transition as well initially?
Yeah, it actually happened kind of by mistake. I started doing product management as my hobby.
Okay.
Where I didn't know if I was doing product management. So it started, 12 years ago. My boyfriend at the time, now my husband, is a developer, a very talented one. And we heard that the Tel Aviv, I was born and raised and lived in Tel Aviv most of my life, that they're going to come up with a shared bicycle scheme. So we said, hey, it's going to be very nice, but they're not going to have an app for it. And I was obsessed with Apple when going to all of their keynotes. It was iPhone 4, I think. And we said, okay, let's create an app. So we just created an app, very simple one. I actually designed it in PowerPoint. I exported assets to my partner from PowerPoint. It actually works. And I kind of fell in love with it. I was still a student. And then it was a success comparing to the small market of Tel Aviv. And then I fell in love with it. I started going to hackathons in Tel Aviv, which was a big thing pre-COVID. Yes. Hopefully now it's getting back to it. And then I just started building stuff. There was a group of friends I met in a hackathon. I pitched one of my ideas for a game, IRL game based on Bluetooth low energy protocol that Apple just announced. I said, oh wow, that could be amazing. And we started meeting every once a week on Wednesday night and just creating apps and releasing to the App Store. And that's how I became product management without knowing that I am a product management manager, working with 4 developers and then designer join us and marketing expert. So I kind of learned it from the ground up. That's how I started.
Awesome. Okay, so you've now had a decade-long experience in product management, since all of that. So taking a closer look at your early career, before joining Wix first, you were the head of product at the London-based Drop It Shopping, where you were in the unique position of revolutionizing the retail experience. How did this role prepare you as a product team to be the lead of a product team at a major tech company like Wix?
Yeah. I got actually when I started at Wix, then we relocated back to. We spent a year in San Francisco. I relocated to Tel Aviv, and I started at Wix again as a product manager. I didn't want to manage other product managers because I felt like I need to learn a lot about the product, about the culture. And I think every time that you go back and do hands-on work, you learn so much. So I started back doing product management hands-on. Um, and then my career path at Wix I moved between companies and went along from a role to role. So at Wix I started actually, and Wix has a very interesting structure. It's built out of companies, which every company has owns a product or a line of products, so it can work and it can work as a little startup that's owning everything end to end, and to quickly release to the users what they need.
Sure.
So I first joined a premium services company, which is in charge of all the experiences of the paying users at Wix. So it was very very business oriented. And there I founded a team that is focused on the user experience. So what are users complaining about when products and flows that regarding their paid services, which is always a lot. Because think, when was the last time that you actually contacted customer care of any service that you're using? Usually, most of the times when you pay for something, or you didn't get it, or your expectations are really high. And then a year and a half ago, or a bit more, I moved to another company, which is the Editor X, which is Wix's, which is the editor that we launched about 3 years ago, that was dedicated to professional designers.
Yes.
So that was a big move. I had to learn a lot from. Actually, it's within Wix, but you need to kind of start from scratch, learn the users, learn the culture. So that was the beginning of my journey that is continuing now with the Wix Studio editor that we'll probably talk about.
Mm-hmm. What would you say were some of the most significant challenges you faced, and how did overcoming those challenges shape your approach at Wix?
I think it's always about listening to the user.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. Because which user are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the existing user or to the potential user that isn't using your product?
Yeah.
How are you going to listen to them? Are you going to look at data? Are you going to talk to them? Are you going to meet them? How are you going to understand what they're asking for? Sometimes they ask for something, but they have a pain and they describe the solution. And so it always evolves around this. I think this is like the magic trick that every product manager needs to find his own or her own path, how to really connect to users. And in the day-to-day life, it's hard because you're surrounded with your current pains, with all the other stakeholders. Everyone needs someone from you because that's your role. And you need to keep reminding yourself that you need to represent the user and their needs. So yeah, it sounds very fluffy, but I think that's our battle, the day-to-day challenge for product manager.
Your progression from the product manager role to the head of product shows evident leadership growth. Can you share how your earlier professional experiences shaped your leadership style and strategies at Wix now?
I think it goes back even to my childhood.
Okay.
When I look back at my career, I said, many things that I struggle with now is things that I struggled as a teenager and when I was in the Tel Aviv Boy Scouts, leader of this group of kids, and you had to convince them to gather everyone and say, hey, now let's go to the woods and build a huge structure together. And it kind of reminds me of a product manager when you don't directly manage other disciplines, but you have to kind of make them fall in love with a communal creation and with your vision or the shared vision or the pain or whatever, and then you create this thing together. So I think that's something that I was always drawn to, how to create happy groups of people working together, and the fact that we are we are employees at a company, just an instance of this thing. But the main thing is about how we feel that we created something that has value to someone. So, and that's how I try to behave with everyone, with my teams, with my colleagues, with my managers. How you make them really feel that hey, we're bringing something good to the world. Let's try to enjoy it along the way, and to work very efficiently and like winning this. But it can come together.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we wanted when I was 16, we wanted the structure in the woods to stay stable so no one falls. So it's the same 20 years later when we build a new feature at Wix.
Yes, exactly. How do you maintain that like positive, like, hey guys, let's rally and get this done on some of your more challenging days?
First, I try to sleep 7 hours at night.
Okay. Good point. Yeah.
And try to have my own, like, all my other aspects of life to be stable. That's the beginning of it.
Okay.
And then at work, well, I think you need perspective. Sometimes the days could be crazy and the pressure is very, very high in work in a very, very dynamic and competitive market, as most product managers do. You need to like stop and remind yourself, hey, we're doing something good. And just to, even if I feel stressed, I try not to pass it to my colleagues, and to smile and say, okay, let's now do it the right way. And I feel that once communication is good, everything is much more effective, because you, instead of struggling with bad communication, you can focus on what's the real problem that we're trying to solve here.
So, okay, throughout your like diverse career, from television to apps to innovative services, what constants have you found in terms of user engagement and satisfaction?
Okay, I have a few thoughts around it. First, users are always people. There's a people behind that user. Like, there's something very confusing with the word user, because you always think you have some visual, and it's actually human being.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that stay the same and will stay the same.
Okay.
Another thought that I have is that the users, customers, they always demand more, and you need to learn to say no, and to understand why you're saying no, and to explain to the customer or to your colleagues why you just said no. And that only works if you have a vision or a big goal or target that you're aiming for. Because otherwise, it's very hard to do this backwards engineering and to explain why I just said no to this and I said big yes to that. The third thought that I have is that many times you do product management in step by step. So you release a new feature, you open an A/B test, you look at the results, and you say, okay, B version wins, let's go with the B version, and then you keep doing it step by step. Sometimes you need to stop and to say, hey, maybe we need to do a game changer. And this is much harder thing to do, because you gamble, and sometimes it's hard to explain. Sometimes it's hard to show the results on the way, but that's where you gain big wins. Big gamble, but sometimes also big wins.
You said that, sometimes you need to explain why you're saying no to something certain, So in saying that, how do you say no? How do you find that balance of being like firm and knowing that, okay, this isn't going to work, and still, leaving a good impression after saying no, because nobody really likes to hear that word, right?
Right. I think once I understand why I said no. It's easier to explain it.
Hmm.
Um, I think, well, we all work in with limited resources, so it's not that we're saying no; it's we're saying yes to another thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and if you're very passionate and you believe about what you said yes to,
Hmm.
so you can explain to the user or to your colleague why this feature is better than that feature, or we need to address this pain and not this pain, or we need to shift our resources towards these targets. Um, it's much harder said than done, of course, because there's so many things that happen at the same time,
Mm.
and so much pressure is coming uh, on the product manager from all directions.
Mm.
But we need to have like strong belief in what we're trying to solve, and to have some level of of guts and
Mm.
of chutzpah, we say in Hebrew, to say, hey, let's do this, because then you can come up with something really revolutionary that sometimes is needed and would gain much more value.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so moving on, how do you balance innovating with new ideas versus refining existing products or platforms based on user feedback?
That's something I'm asking myself every day. We just released. No, seriously, it's this balance is. I don't feel there's a rule of thumb here.
Mm-hmm.
There's common sense,
Okay.
and I feel that every project I worked on, a company I worked with, the situation was different. The business situation, the clients, uh, the technology, that we're basing our solution on is different.
Sure.
Um, so I yeah, my suggestion would be just play it by ear and use common sense.
Given Wix's vast user base of over like a crazy 240 million users, how does the company process and prioritize feedback from those users?
Sure. So um, yeah, at Wix we are very close to our users,
Mm-hmm.
and of course we look at data all the time, on any way possible.
Okay.
But I think our like the biggest belief is that you need to talk to the user. Just talk with them. Data is amazing and it can drive many of our decisions. But then when you just have an open conversation with the user,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a form, it's not a questionnaire. Even when you come up to this user talk, you usually come with open mind, because we believe that if you come with a set of questions, you already like put the answers in the mouth of the user that you're gonna talk to. So we want to just talk with the user. Sometimes I was just last night I went to drinks with users, Wix Studio users from all around the world that we brought to Israel, and we went to drinks. Went for, and when with the while we were drinking, the most valuable insights came because we just talked very openly, and the
Yes.
most interesting things come up.
That's amazing. That's great advice. Yeah, have a drink with your users. How influential would you say has user feedback been in shaping the product direction and features of Wix thus far?
I'd say that's the only thing we do. Um, like yeah, that's what we do. That's what we get paid for. We have a internal joke at Wix, that the users are our boss. This is our boss, not our boss, the Wix boss, but the users are our boss. And sometimes they are very micromanaging, and sometimes they're demanding. Sometimes most of the time, they're very fun to work with. But all we do is we want to make them happy. And if they'll be happy, our business will keep thriving as it is. So we're very user obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sometimes there's the marketing and business goals that we need to achieve, but it always comes from great user experience and user satisfaction.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
When you're working with a platform or creating a platform for people to be using, I mean, of course, your priority should be the user and what it is that they want and need, right? And then you need to kind of shift it and try to keep them happy. So that's a really good approach, I think. That definitely sets a company up for success, which is probably exactly why Wix is so successful. So when you're approaching a new project, how do you prioritize what needs like immediate attention versus what can be set as like a long-term goal?
It's really hard to distill it into one great tip. Um, uh, Once I join a new project, first I try to listen to everyone and not to jump into conclusions. Because we have this hunch where we say you want to bring your prior knowledge and to apply it into your new project, new domain. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it could be actually deceiving. So first, I try to learn. I try to understand the users, understand the technology, understand how we tried the prior team try to solve the same problems, because usually it's been the same problems. Which ones haven't been solved and why? What was the strategy? And then to come up with a roadmap that makes sense. Many times it will be a combination of putting off fires or finding those quick wins that you can achieve and that will bring big value to our users in a relatively a small amount of effort. And then I try to think about the strategy. What's my strategy? What can I bring to the team that they haven't thought of, or they thought of but they neglected? And to find your own voice. And I think it's true about every discipline, everyone who goes to work, not only in tech.
So Wix also boasts like a diverse range of products and services. So how do you collaborate across different product teams and ensure a unified and innovative user experience?
Sure. So Wix is divided into companies, and each company is in charge of product or a line of products, and works as a startup. And it's a very big challenge to communicate and to have one single user experience for our users. So it's based on great communication between the teams. So the product managers know each other and talk with each other and know what the other companies are working on. We also have, for each company, we have operations that are in charge of all those relations and aligning roadmaps. So we try to work as transparent as possible and as in sync as possible between the companies. Yes. Many times with big projects, we do need to align the roadmaps. So there's a milestone that we set into a certain point in time, and then all the other companies need to deliver based on that milestone. And then we have our routines to show each other the product, to have reviews. But it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. I think we're doing it pretty well, because at the end of the day, if you log into Wix.com, you feel that it's made out of one company.
So you recently launched Wix Studio, and it's super evident that Wix is making a significant leap in creating like a comprehensive web creation platform. And it's especially interesting that your platform also boasts a blend of AI-powered features. So can you delve a little bit deeper into the inspiration behind Wix Studio?
Sure. Yeah, so these are very exciting times for us. Wix has been always started as a DIY, right? Do it yourself, build your own website. That was back in 2006, 17 years ago. And since then, the company has evolved to many directions, how we can help any type of user, whether it's a DIY user or a professional user or business. to create their online presence and to support their business. Um, and in the last, so partners that we call them partners are freelancers and agencies that build on top of the Wix platform for their clients. And they've been with us from the very beginning. And in the last few years, we've been really focusing on this audience because we understand the huge potential of that audience, and we catered for their needs. But Wix Studio is the first time that we offer a comprehensive end-to-end platform for any freelancer or agency to create online presence for their clients. And it involves the brand new Wix Studio editor that my team is in charge of, as well as many management and growth tools for the partners, whether working as a team, working with their clients, and much more.
So,
Thanks.
as the head of product for Wix Studio, can you walk us through the inception and evolution of the product? So, what sets it apart from other web design tools in the market today?
Sure. So, for Wix Studio, we brought all the knowledge that Wix has gained from all the editors that we launched through the years. And there have been a bunch. So Wix started in 2006 with a Adobe Flash-based editor, and then I think 2012 it was relaunched on HTML5, and then 2016 we have actually an artificial intelligence based ADI editor, which was very easy to create websites with. And 3 years ago, we launched Editor X, which is a very complex and advanced editor. I think Wix Studio is trying to to bring all of this together so that you're going to have all the amazing advanced capabilities that Editor X offers with the intuitiveness of the Wix Studio editor. And I think that's something that only Wix can do, because we have so much, we gain so much knowledge from our users. And I think when you try this new Wix Studio editor, you'll feel it. You feel that it's intuitive, but then you can really go deep and have really precision when you design your websites for your clients.
So I know that Wix also has like Wix experts that helps people to design their websites, right? And similarly, DesignRush hosts a complete directory of top web design companies across the world. So the question is, what would you say are like the major benefits of outsourcing a company to build a business's website in today's landscape?
Well, the Wix is very much focused on this audience, on getting more partners, professional designers, and developers to work with us. This is what this whole Wix Studio platform is about. And I think this business is gonna be a huge growth engine for Wix. So I think for many times when you have your business, it's a much better choice to find a professional that you can brief, and they'll create exactly what you need for your website. We have tens of thousands of partners that build these sites every day, and we know that their clients are very happy with the results. So many times it's just that's the best way to go, because you can focus on your business and let the professional take care of your online business, online presence, whether it's starting from a website, and then we also offer many other tools, starting from marketing tools and SEO and everything you need for your online presence.
Amazing. Yes, exactly. Those are really good points. I think there's something to be said for being able to focus on other important aspects of your business while a professional handles like the nitty-gritty stuff for you as well then. So Okay, finally, Nir, as someone who's managed and collaborated with teams both in person and remotely, where do you stand on the future of remote work, especially in the tech product development industry?
That's a very, very interesting question. We all worked totally, all remotely during COVID.
Yeah.
COVID years that seem so far away from now. It's very interesting because these years were very, very different, and I think we all gained different capabilities. At Wix specifically, we believe in work together because we value the collaborative work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's the barrier with working remotely.
Yeah.
That real creation process is harder to handle because I feel that most of it, anyone can need to say their thing and then listen to everyone, and it's less collaborative nature. But I think we also gain a lot from working remotely because you need to communicate better, to be more organized. So I think now the post-COVID days when we learn how to work remotely, but we work the same space most of the week is rather nice and valuable.
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Nir. I hope our paths cross again in future and that we maybe can host you again on here.
I'll be happy to.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a good day and speak soon. And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you're looking for a web design agency for your project, we're here to help. Visit designrush.com/marketplace. Our marketplace offers a curated selection of agencies that can provide the solutions you need to turn your dream project into a reality. Again, I'm your host, Vianca Mayer. Stay curious and join us for the next episode.